Boomchenka, how's it going, everybody? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with a cheeky little preview and chat and a mass debate, so to speak, about Manchester United. And of course, the Wolves game tomorrow and sort of a couple of other things, what's going on with our season, that kind of stuff. I'm joined by a few legends of the YouTube world here. Going around clockwise, we've got the United Man, we've got John Shin, we've got Alex Rincon from the North Texas Red. Shout out to you guys. How are we all doing tonight?
Loving it.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Doing well, man.
Awesome. Good to hear you.
How are you doing, Joe? How are you doing?
Yeah.
More importantly, how are you doing, mate?
To be honest with you, that's a bit of a rough subject, mate, because I've just woken up from a nap. I'm feeling like shite. But I'm here, you know. I literally passed out about an hour ago, and you had to you had to drag me out of bed to do this video, but here I am. Thank you for joining us, professional as ever. Thank you for joining us. Anyway, yeah. So there we go. Manchester United at the moment, we are in a situation where we find ourselves potentially in a title challenge. Maybe not so much a title challenge, but at least we're in the mix. We're up there. I want to see your thoughts on it, really, and hear your thoughts on it, guys, of United's current situation and what the likeliness is that we can actually mount a serious title challenge this season. Do you think this is just another rebuilding season? Is it just another case of next year, you know, we've got to build, get a few places in the team sorted out? Or could we actually make a real go of it this year, lads and lasses? What do you think? Well, not lasses, sorry. lads. We'll go throw it over to you, Shane, up there, mate. We'll throw it over to you, Shane.
Okay, I'll be straight. This year, if it was any other year where Man City or Liverpool were doing what they've done previously, I'd be saying, look, we've maybe another 2-3 seasons, we'd realistically be able to make a challenge if we get this player in, that player in. How the league table has found itself at this stage at the moment, we're not quite halfway through the season at the moment, but how we sit as we stand, there's no reason why not. And I feel like that, for example, the game against Leicester, where we literally, it's been 2 points dropped. We've seen obviously Liverpool's dropped 2 points as well. So realistically, how it's set now, if we can garner some consistency where we're picking up 4 wins out of the next 6 games, so to speak, because other teams are going to be taking points off each other. Chelsea, Liverpool, City, Tottenham, they'll all be taking points off each other. And obviously you've got lots of Villa, who are sort of like dangerous at the moment. I really do feel that we could sneak one, but at the moment it's anyone's title. So that's why I feel like, yeah, there's an opportunity that we could do something this season.
Nice one, Shane. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Like you say, it's kind of wide open. This weekend sort of proved it in a way, because obviously United, we went away to Leicester and we drew, so we dropped a couple of points. But then you look at the other fixtures that happened as well. Post that, Chelsea obviously got humiliated by those relegation candidates, Arsenal. Yeah. And, of course, Liverpool, as you say, against West Brom. So, you know, like, it's not easy out there. It's hard out here for a pimp. And people like Lampard, they're finding that out. But, yeah, John Shinman, great to see you with those flowing locks, lad. How are you doing? What are your thoughts?
I'm jealous. I am jealous, John. Just so you know, I am jealous. Just going to put it out there.
You know, this is the longest I've ever grown my hair. I remember when I first met Mr. Flying Pig. I think he still might have it under that hat. His hair was lush.
He does. He's hiding it. He's hiding it.
This is my hair.
But with respect to the conversation, I think Shane pretty much hit the head. But one thing I will say is I hate the word transition period, because I think we've been talking about transition for the longest time, right? But it is one of those things where we have to accept it. You know, we're not ready for challenging anything. I'm just going to say it straight out here. I know we're just starting in the stream and whatnot, but we're not ready to challenge. And the reason why I say that, one of the biggest reasons, is the consistency. We're so consistently inconsistent in terms of how we're able to draw out these results. And if you're going to challenge for a title, maybe let alone a trophy or two, if you're going to challenge for the Premier League title, you have to be consistent. It doesn't matter if you're consistently dominating or scraping by with victories. You have to make sure you're getting points across the table, and you can't be dropping points in silly situations. And Manchester United's attack might be beautiful, but Manchester United's defense right now is an absolute, not shit show, but it's one of those situations where you're just like, And that's one of the biggest reasons as to why I just don't think Manchester United are ready to challenge just yet. Maybe I might come back in a month or two and be like, Joe, I was wrong. I'm going to cut my hair. We might challenge. But
There's
right
no
now,
need to do that, John. There's no need. There's no need.
right now, I just don't think we're ready to challenge for anything. It's positive right now. I'm not going to sit here doom and gloom. It's positive. I'm liking the progression that we've made so far, but I don't think we're ready.
Yeah, I got similar opinions to you, John. I just wanted to get all your guys' sort of views at the start. So I'm going to throw it straight over to Alex, just your initial, feeling behind this season, and if we've got the possibility to maybe win the title.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much in agreement with you guys. I don't think United will win the title this season. I do think I agree with John that we are consistently inconsistent. Our attack is really great. I think we've scored more goals than anyone in the Premier League this season besides Liverpool, which shows how good our attack is and can be. It's our defense that's suspect. It just always feels, I don't know about you guys, but this season I've just always kind of felt like the defensive players have a mistake in them. And that's kind of evident, especially from the last match we had with Leicester, where 2 mistakes basically cost us the game, not closing down players and just poor positioning and defensive awareness. So, no, I don't think that we're quite there yet to be challenging for the title, and I don't think we'll win it. But with the season the way it is, anyone could win it. I mean, it's really close up at the top. So we could, by some magical fortune, win the title, but I don't think we will. I think we're a few players short of that.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gash at the back, aren't we, guys? Let's be honest now. Let's not sugarcoat it. We've got a set of absolute mugs at the back. We spent £80 million on a fridge. We all know that. But no, to be fair, look, I kind of agree with all of you guys in a way. Yeah, we could do it, but it's unlikely. I mean, Leicester won it a few years ago, didn't they? They were less likely to do it than we are right now, to be honest. So it is possible, but like John says, you need that consistency if you're going to challenge for a title. And unfortunately, we have, as I say, Lindelof at the back. We have Maguire at the back. We have players at the back who do have a lot of errors in them. And like you say, Alex, the attack's brilliant. We score a lot of goals, but all the best teams are built on a good, solid defense. And if we're actually going to properly challenge for a title over the course of the whole 38 games, you can't be having the errors committed from the guys on a bi-weekly basis, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Can I just add real quick? Just an observation I've made and how I feel with this season, how I want United to progress. You know how at the end of, I think it was the season before last, where everybody pretty much felt at the beginning of last season that Liverpool were going to win the league because of the momentum they had at the back end of the season prior. I would really like for United to have, by the end of this season, have a feeling of the same, if that makes sense. Like, I want us to make progression to the point where at the end of this season, we're all sitting here saying, I think we can go on and challenge for the title if we just get 1 or 2 more players. So,
we just need the Alisson and Van Dijk equation, basically. Just get the Alisson and Van Dijk in, which is pretty much the pieces that Liverpool are missing to complete the puzzle. I hear you on that one, yeah.
Yeah, and that's all I wanted to say.
Nice one, yeah. Well, look, I mean, we're optimistic as fans. I think we're all pretty happy with the current situation. I know there's still a lot of media pressure. There's still a lot of Ollie outers. There's still a lot of people that think Frank Lampard's doing a tremendous job at Chelsea and Solskjaer's a PE teacher and stuff like that, which I just don't understand. But if you actually look at the way we've sort of improved over the last 12 months in particular, particularly since I would say Bruno Fernandes came in, which is obviously a big factor, then we're going in the right direction, to be fair, Shane. I mean, wouldn't you say, like, we're happy with the plight at the moment, lads, would you say?
I'd realistically, to Alex's point there, where in terms of momentum off the back of the previous season, I think the last 4 games of our season we were limping over the line in terms of finishing in Champions League spot. But prior to that, from Bruno's injection into the side, we were looking so dangerous. Once we got Rashford back from his injury, Pogba seemed to be liking playing with Bruno. We looked extremely dangerous, and I'm thinking to myself, obviously this season's gone, meaning last season, but the following season where we are now, I was thinking we could do something here in terms of, and that was based That was predicated pretty much on our attacking flair and the amount of goals we were scoring, how we were breaking down teams in more than one fashion than just counter-attacking. So for me, we kind of limped over the line, but that was due to really the quality and depth that we didn't have towards the end of the last season, and we were relying upon the same starting 11. I think was it 6 games in a row, which hadn't been done since 1994, something like that. So now that we've got a bit more squad depth in terms of quality, don't get me wrong, we're not there yet, and I think everyone's in agreement the fact that yes, the attack is something to write home about, but such as the defense is so leaky, we can't then look forward, because until that's addressed, we're going to be stuck basically in limbo. But the reason why I said that I feel like we could nick, and that would be a massive steal this season, is pretty much because no one has that consistency this season. There is no consistency from Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City. If you look at the league form table at the moment, we're level at the top in terms of current form with as I say, with Manchester City. So in terms of consistency, where we just drop off, well, for example, Leicester, we took the lead twice and we let go that lead. I completely agree with you guys in terms of it's just inconsistent, and we don't know where that consistency is going to come from. But my point was, because everyone else is so inconsistent consistently, that's why we could steal it, honestly. And that's the only reason. In terms of a dynasty as we were, no, we're way off that. But in terms of stealing it, there's absolutely that point. But I think we're all in that same boat where do you know what, we're comfortable where we are now in our development of becoming a dynasty once again. So I'm very happy with where we are at the moment and the direction we're going in, and that's included in terms of the transfer dealings that we're doing and have done, as well as.
Come on, lads! We're in a title challenge at Christmas.
Come on!
Let's be having you.
Where are you?
It does feel nice, though. I'm not saying we're going to go winner. I still think we'll probably finish third, to be honest.
Third, yeah. Third is probably accurate, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, and I think that would actually be a respectable season for Solskjaer and the team, considering we do still have a few issues in the side. And like you say, if we add to it correctly in the transfer window, that could be solved. But yes, I mean, it's just nice to be ending the year still in with the optimism that we could possibly win the league, or not even that we really think we're going to win the league, just that we could win the league, you know, because I think we were like 20 points behind by this time last year or something ridiculous. So
22 points at this time last year.
It
was silly.
Hey, if you told me back in the summer, though, like, hey, we won't sign Jadon Sancho, but we'll be like a few points off top of the table with half the season to go, I would have taken that. So
absolutely.
I'm happy with where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, it is a shame, though. I'll just throw this over to you, John, and see what you think about it, mate. But it is a shame that United, I know we did get Cavani in the window, we did get Donny, we did show some ambition, but ultimately we didn't get the Jadon Sancho type player. We didn't get the Thomas Partey type player that we arguably needed, and we certainly didn't get Upamecano or some sort of centre-back position. So do you guys think if we'd have gone out there and signed the centre-back that we desperately needed, that we would be in a, well, I mean, it's hard to predict, but do you think that that's the reason why maybe we don't win the league this season, is because we didn't have a good enough transfer window yet again?
100%. The fact that they didn't spend the cash, they didn't splash the cash, especially in the midst of a pandemic, just goes to show that, I guess from an investment perspective, maybe the board felt like this transition period is not worth diving into the bank account and just dropping so much money for a player like Jadon Sancho's quality. They just feel like maybe they are not ready, and they maybe want to wait until next season or something like that, which for me says a lot of things. One, it says that our board's really not that ambitious, right? They're not really looking to push aggressively every year, right? Of course, they have to worry about the finances and all that yada 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 in the midst of a pandemic. But look, to me, if they're not ready to splash the cash on Jadon Sancho, who's been linked with us for God knows how long, just kind of gives me the vibe that they're not really aggressive in that front. Secondly, it also it just reasserts the fact that we're still not fully equipped as a squad. You know, we've been chatting all day about the defense and how the defense is an absolute catastrophe and all. We've been saying a lot about the defense, and then after we spent 80 million on Fridge and all that jazz, but we still have issues across the pitch. We still haven't really figured out how we're going to replace the Nemanja Matic. We still haven't figured out if Fred's the real deal. We still haven't figured out if Scott's going to be ready to deputize once Matic leaves. Up front, yeah, we're scoring goals. Yeah, we might look pretty, but as you saw in that Leicester game, it's so obvious that we still don't have a lethal finisher. When Bruno dinked that ball over to Marcus Rashford and he was wide open for that header, he has to score that. I love Marcus Rashford to death. You guys know how much I love that guy, but he has to score that. Martial missing sitters day after day. We don't have a lethal 9. And, I know we brought in Cavani to be the 9, but he's not the answer. He's not the Robin van Persie. He's not the Wayne Rooney. He's not the Berbatov. He's not the Carlos Tevez. He's not the Andy Cole. He's not the Dwight York. He's not the Robin Ruud van Nistelrooy. I can go on and on and on. We still have issues across the pitch that still needs addressing. If you're elite, if you're a strong squad that wants to challenge, you have to have reinforcements and strength across the board. Sir Alex Ferguson, I don't know how, but he was winning leagues with Danny Welbeck, Tom Cleverley, Darren Gibson. He was winning the league with these kind of players.
Anderson.
He doesn't. You can't unless you're Sir Alex Ferguson. It's not going to happen. You have to have a strong squad, and it's just not going to happen without more depth. And I'm not knocking on Rashford. I'm not knocking on Martial. I love these guys to death. I still think we're a team in progress. But if we're gonna win the league right now, we needed additions, and we just didn't have that. So that's pretty much it. And by the way, shout out to Josh Smith and shout out to lots of people in the chat room showing lots of love to all of us. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, thank you very much for joining in with the show tonight, and thank you to these guys for coming on. Do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button on the video if you haven't done so already, and also give it a share if you want on social media. That'd be much appreciated. Shout out to a few peeps I can see in the live chat here. Micah Henry, Mrs. P's in here, Lee Wesley, Nanette Giggs, Kayam, Rema Ishmael, Ellie, all the legends getting in here. Much love to all you guys. Thank you for joining us. Do get your score predictions in as well for the game tomorrow, lads and lasses. We'd love to know what you guys think is going to happen there. But yes, John, I mean, look, you're right. We always go on about our United's defence, and it is a big problem. But like that game the other day, we can blame it on the defensive issues, but it's equally just the fact, like you just said, Rashford missed a couple of absolute sitters. Bruno missed a sitter in that game as well. So like you say, it's a combination of the two. It's just across the board, even in the middle of the park where I think we do have good depth and qualities at the moment. In some ways, obviously Pogba's going to be going out the door. It's like it's still nobody really knows what the best sort of combination. I'm not even sure if Solskjaer really does, because he's obviously mixing up the formation, the system every single week. Like you say, McTominay, there's question marks. He's a bit hot and cold. Matic is an aging Frankenstein. He's been a great servant over the last few years, but he is aging. And then you've got players like Fred, who's obviously very consistent for us. He's about the only real sort of player that's a shoe-in really weekly at the moment, because he's been very consistent. But yeah, I think we just need a few more key areas sorted out in this team to be complete, really.
Yeah, well, like just to touch upon that midfield, like we've seen it time and time again, especially in the past few games. We cannot seem to place the simple passes, the simple 5 yards, the simple 10 yards, even the medium, maybe drill in 20 yarders. We're missing. Our passing completion rate must be absolute dog shit. I don't have the numbers on me. I could maybe ask some people, but we misplace passes like it's nobody else's business. The simple ones, the ones that you need to control, the one-touch passes, the turns, the half turns, the things that Ander Herrera was absolutely brilliant in doing. We just can't seem to get these things. These little minor tweaks are just existing across the entire pitch. I know. I'm going to say it again. I know it's the defense that's sort of at the forefront of the main issues that we need to address, but there are other issues on the pitch that needs to be tweaked. And Shane had a great point before. He says, this could be one of the seasons we could be stealing because of all these other problems. Everybody's sort of similarly inconsistent. I agree with that sentiment as well, but I don't know. It's just like the quality of the Premier League, especially with respect to the pandemic season. Everybody's, taking knocks. Everybody's getting exhausted. You could see Bruno being exhausted. You can also see Rashford getting exhausted. It is a hit or miss type of season. So maybe it could be a blessing for us to be able to try to capitalize in the situation. But I'm not all that confident that we could right now, given the leaks from all across the pitch. And Shiki says John Shin is being way too critical. I am, because I used to be known on this platform as the optimistic guy, the guy that says we're going to win everything. Let's fucking go. That used to be me. And I've been so hurt over the years that I'm a little bit more careful about how I approach.
I think the wording is bitter and twisted now, John. Isn't
There
it?
you go. That's the
one. Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, what about? I'll tell you what. I heard something about earlier. Edinson Cavani may be having his contract extended at United. Just initially, guys, what do you think about that? Obviously, he is, in my opinion, a great goal scorer. Now he's obviously at the tail end of his career. But he's still, he's the same sort of age as Jamie Vardy, who's still doing it consistently in the Premier League. So could he not do it for us and be our main man and maybe send Martial sort of packing into the subs for the next 12 months or so, guys? What do you think, Alex? Like a bit of Cavani action?
Yeah, I mean, I like Edinson Cavani. I think he's a very great veteran to have around the squad. I think over the years, playing at PSG and in the Italian league, I forget what the club it was, but he put up remarkable numbers. I read something that he's PSG's all-time leading goal scorer. I don't know if that's true or not, but if that is, that's pretty remarkable. It means that we're getting a goal scorer in our team that has scored as many goals in his career as a professional as someone like Wayne Rooney, which would put him in the elite levels of strikers over the last decade. So yeah, I think Edinson Cavani is a great player. I think he's shown his qualities, especially in that game against Everton. What a strike that was with the turn,
that left foot,
with the left foot, which it was wonderful, and it shows why we signed him. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him to stay. I think he has a role to play, especially this season, and if he does stay another year, this season ahead. I don't think Greenwood's quite ready yet to lead the line as a 9, so having someone like Cavani as cover is really beneficial for our team. So yeah, I'm happy to have him for another year.
Yeah, they should be able to learn from him as well. I mean, what do you guys think about Tony Martial's long-term future at Manchester United then? Because obviously if Cavani's going to be here for the next year, I mean, I guess he's not going to be playing all the games. You've got to manage him a bit more smartly. He's getting on, he's aging, but what does this mean for Tony Martial at number 9? Because like you say, John, he's not been impressive enough this season or last season, really, in terms of consistency. I know he had a really good end to the season, but over the course of the year, he's blowing hot and cold constantly. And this season, he's been one of the most frustrating players to watch because he can do it, but he's just missing these schoolboy opportunities.
Just doesn't do it.
Look, I'm just gonna quickly chime in. I've been one of the more critical I've been one of the more heavier critics of Anthony Martial, just given the fact that I don't want to say I had expectations of him, but we all kind of did. When he slammed that goal in at Liverpool, when he just absolutely rinsed half that Liverpool defense to score that goal, he was something special, right? So we all kind of have a bit more expectation. And look, don't get me wrong. He is scoring and he is putting in his numbers and he is contributing to this squad. But for me, I want to never forget the standards that Manchester United should hold, especially with respect to the forward line. And Anthony Martial, I still think he has it in him. I still think he has the potential, but he needs to develop that game. If he wants to really, truly cement his position at the 9 for Manchester United, he needs to develop his game. He can't just completely just try and do those dropping of the shoulder, get past the players, slam it. Like, he has to add more to his game. He needs to be more lethal. He needs to be able to finish on 1 touch per game. He needs to be able to finish on 2 touches per game. He needs to add a little more to his game to get to that next level of number 9. And I feel like this is the season, unfortunately, that he needs to prove himself. If not, if we're going to, apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, we are actually going to sign Jadon Sancho next season. Maybe the whole Paul Pogba situation, with respect to whether or not we're going to swap a player or sell him, it's definitely going to add and allow us to, drop a little bit more cash. And when we bring these new players in, it's going to definitely add competition. And I feel like it might be a bit too late at that point for Anthony Martial. He needs to cement his position now. He needs to just do it now.
Yeah, or go back out to the wide position, maybe. Alex, what do you think about that?
I agree with John. I think we all, when Martial, I mean, I'll never forget the day I watched Martial's debut goal, and we all had such high hopes for him, that season, and him coming in, and he looked like a real talent. He's 25 now. And although I do think as of recently, he has been more involved, as John Shin said that he would like him to be involved. I think the last 2 games, he's had 2 assists and a goal, I think. I'll have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But we need to see more of that, like John said. I actually personally hold the belief that after all these years of seeing Martial play, I don't think he's an elite level finisher of the ball. I don't think that's really his strength. I mentioned this in a chat with you, Pig, a few days ago. In the chat, I chatted something like Martial's best abilities, in my opinion, are his pace and his dribbling. So yeah, he might benefit as a wide player, but the fact is that every transfer window Ole has had since he's been at the club, he's tried to sign a striker. So I think that really speaks volumes and shows that Ole doesn't really maybe not see him necessarily as our starting number 9 to lead the line for Manchester United. I personally don't think he can be that person, but we'll see. I mean,
yeah, I think he does a lot for the team, doesn't he? He does do a lot for the team, and his movement and stuff has got better markedly over the last sort of year or so. But like you say, you need your number 9 to be a complete finisher, a natural finisher, really. Somebody who could, if the team's performing behind them, get somewhere like 30 goals in a Premier League campaign. That is what you should be aiming for, really, for United number 9. So, yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to be doing that, but much love to Martial. I do love him as a United player. He just infuriates me because he's got such a high ceiling, but he just never gets up there as often as you'd like. Kind of like Paul Pogba, really. It's just the inconsistencies there. Yeah. We just got a super chat here from Rushmano. Thank you so much, Rushmano, who says, Ole is improving the club in all aspects. We are 3 players away from really challenging. Yeah, it seems like it, and I think there's been a little bit of a shift in terms of maybe the transfer policy a little bit since we signed Slabby, because the value for money is just not there. We're being linked to this Moises Caicedo, a £5 billion player from Ecuador at the moment, or possibly in the January transfer window. We've made younger signings recently. So I think maybe there's a slight shift and a more of a forward planning for the future. So I'm excited with what the future holds, but we are definitely, like Rushmano says, I think a few players away. Key areas for me, centre-back, CDM, and the right winger, which hopefully, Fabrizio's alluded to. Maybe Jadon Sancho will still be on the agenda. But I just want to read this comment out here from Lynette Giggs as well, who says Anthony can play on the wing. Still a good player. Yeah, I mean, if he's up for playing maybe second fiddle at United, then I want him to be here for as long as he's a good player, especially on his day when he turns up. Okay then, lads. Nice one. Thank you so much, everyone who's getting here in the comment section, by the way. Get your score predictions in and stuff for the game tomorrow. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think about Manchester United's chances tomorrow, and obviously this is a big game in terms of the title challenge as well, because Wolves are a good team. I know they're not quite up there as much as they were last season, but they're still a very good football inside, and it's going to be a test for United. So I'll stick it over to you, Shane. Do you think that if we beat Wolves tomorrow, end the year with another really positive win, that will give us maybe a bit of momentum to give us a bit of belief going into the new year for the title challenge?
I like how you ended that, for the title challenge.
I just want somebody to say yes, we're going to win the league, please. I just want somebody to say yes, we're going to win the league.
You know, we have this innate ability to be realistic as well sometimes, as United fans, unfortunately. Wolves, unfortunately, they've been one of our bogey teams, haven't they, over the recent history. I feel like we're quite lucky in terms of their misfortune, really, where obviously Raul Jimenez with that head injury, obviously the fact that Adama Traore hasn't been playing loads either at the moment for them, because Adama Traore, he scares me when he plays against us, purely because he's a tank, he's a moving train, and you have Man United players hanging off him, and he literally, exactly,
like he hasn't scored or anything for or assisted for about 21 games or something like that.
It's true, yeah, it's so true. He's just dangerous, and when he plays against us, he seems to have one of his better games. But Diogo Jota, I'm glad he's left them as well, because he worked well with Raul Jimenez. So really, it's their main threat now is their central area through, I suppose, with João Moutinho and Ruben Neves, as they always have been in terms of orchestrating the game. But I feel confident now with when our midfield sort of show up. Bruno Fernandes doesn't always play well, but he affects the game in a positive way. one way or another, it always affects the game in a positive manner, whether that's a goal or an assist or creating opportunities. It just depends on the supporting cast. I know Ollie just tends to sort of like try and shut these guys down because they're supreme ball retention players. But that being said, I just feel like our forward line will cause them issues. But at the same time, we won't. They play a deep line a lot of the time, so there won't be tons of space in behind. So I'm just hopeful that Cavani starts along with Rashford. If we're playing a sort of like a 5-3-2, or if we're going sort of like the traditional way that Ollie goes with his 4-2-3-1. Greenwood gets an opportunity along with Cavani and Rashford up top, and then you've got Pogba and Bruno Fernandes hopefully pulling the strings. I'll probably go for hopefully a 3-1 win. Is what my spidey sense is telling me at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome. Alex, what do you think about the game tomorrow? You feeling confident we're going to win it?
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the same boat as Shane. They're our bogey team. They're just a really hard team to play against. I remember when they were promoted that the media and people like were saying that they're a top 6 killer, which is true. They seem to be set up to just nullify the top 6 teams, as evident that we saw yesterday against Spurs. I'm not as confident as Shane is. I think that if we win, it'll be a 2-1. The only saving grace I see here is that they're going to be exhausted by the time the 60th minute comes around tomorrow, whereas we've had that extra rest, which, I mean, if you listen to any sports scientist, they're going to tell you that an extra day's rest is just huge on the body and the way it performs in a contact sport like football. So, yeah, I am more confident than I have been against them recently, but I'm not as confident. I think if we win, it'll be a 2-1. I'd love a Bruno Fernandes 98th minute penalty.
Gets in there, Bruno. Yeah, the difference maker. But yes, I think we've only got. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Victor Lindelof are going to be out of the game. Other than that, I think maybe Dan James picked up a little bit of a knock. Other than that, we're in pretty good shape. From what I understand, Wolves have still got
Rashford. Sorry, I think Oli said that Rashford and one other was a doubt for tomorrow. I can't remember who the other
was. It Dan James? Yeah, I'm not too sure actually, but yeah, I was asleep. but yeah, Raul Jimenez, Willy Bolly, Dendoncker, and Johnny are unavailable for Wolves. So, and like you say, they should be tired. So yeah, I mean,
Willy Bolly's unavailable as well.
I mean, it says on the BBC website here,
Wow.
Jimenez, Willy Bolly, Dendoncker, and Johnny are still unavailable.
So that's huge. That's massive.
Pretty big. That's pretty big. And Adama Traore, even though he is obviously a complete menace out there, he's not statistically in the best run of form right now. So that makes me feel good. They're without the Jimenez, who's a fantastic goal scorer for them as well. I'm going to throw it over to you, John. What's your thoughts on this game against Nuno Gomez's Wolves?
They are, the lads have been pretty much hitting the nail on the head with respect to the analysis. I think Wolves are one of those teams that are probably maybe top 6. They're fighting for top 6, top 4, top 5. Maybe last season, maybe a few seasons ago, they were definitely, a bit more aggressive. I think they've calmed down a little bit, but they're still a force to be reckoned with. And if Manchester United want to find consistency, I don't care who your opponent is. You have to get results. And I don't mean win every single damn game. You have to get results. And we have to improve our home form. It's just been one of those things where I don't know why. We've just had much better performances away games. So we have to improve our home form. No excuses about that. We have to make sure we're making no mistakes across the pitch. It has to be a clean performance overall. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think I saw a crazy stat. Manchester United have only kept 3 clean sheets this season. I think that was like, I saw that yesterday or something like that. That's insane. We have to do better. Yep. And it's not just the defense. We talk about
that is awful.
It is.
I didn't know that.
We have to be better across the pitch. I know. So for instance, we're talking about that game against Leicester. There was a situation for Vardy's goal. People were blaming Harry Maguire. People were blaming Eric Bailly. People were blaming Aaron Wan-Bissaka. People were blaming everybody on that back line. But it has to be better from across the pitch. It's not just them. Defending isn't just 4 players at the back and a goalkeeper. Defending is an entire art from the entire squad on that pitch. So we have to be better. No excuses about that. And hopefully we grind out a professional result at home against the Wolves.
Well said, John. Well said. Chelsea, shut the bed, guys. Come on.
Get in.
Only just seems like
1-1, exactly what we needed.
Yeah, they dropped a couple of points at home to Villa. Get in there. Frank Lampard's having a melt. They're sixth now. 26 points, having played 2 games more than Manchester United. We're ahead by 1 point. We've got 2 games in hand on Chelsea now. Villa are
and they spent 200 million.
Come on, get in there. This is big stuff. This is big stuff. Lampard's just had a little bit of a falter there. Villa are doing absolutely amazing, aren't they? Away from home, they're picking up a point at the bridge. They're actually above Chelsea in 5th place now on the same amount of points, but they've got 2 games in hand on Chelsea themselves. So United are just finding ourselves pretty well placed. If we obviously win tomorrow, we go up. We go up to second in the league effectively. I'm not sure what the other fixtures are tomorrow that would affect it, but we're in a good position right now. This is a fantastic place we find ourselves in right now, as United fans who for the last 7 years really have had a bit of a barren spell when it comes to challenging. Even that season when we finished second with Jose at the wheel. We weren't a close second, were we? It was a long distance behind. So this has really been, I mean, have we been in it at this stage since Fergie left? No. Yeah. So enjoy it, lads, because we are.
I'm waiting for John. I'm waiting for John to say league titles coming this season. That's what I'm waiting for.
You're not gonna hear that from me.
I'm going to say the 2 Americans have the common sense.
We get roasted plenty for being Americans on football.
Yeah, seriously.
Football, so I'm gonna take it easy for now.
You absolute legends. I just want to read this comment out here from the Real Clam. He shows some love to the guest tonight. He says with a super chat, he said, shout out to the Bacon Brigade special guests, legends in human form. Aston Villa helping us out a treat. Absolutely fantastic result there. And shout out to John Shin, the United Man, and also Alex from North Texas Reds. These guys all have presences on YouTube and social media and stuff like that, by the way. You can find Shane at the United Man on YouTube, John Shin Talks. Or is it just John Shin now, John?
It's just John Shin.
Okay, it's just John Shin now. He dropped the talks.
Yeah, I don't talk anymore.
He just sits there now. It's a mukbang channel. It's a mukbang channel. He just eats food on there. And Alex, you're North Texas Reds, aren't you, on Twitter and Facebook and that sort of thing? Yeah.
That is correct. Yep.
Awesome. Well, there you go. You can find these legends on there. Thank you so much for the Real Clammy. I just want to read a couple of these little statistics out actually about the game because makes for quite interesting really just to see some of the statistics in the build up to this game for Manchester United. If you just give me a moment. So some of the head-to-head stats between Wolves and United. So United are unbeaten in 9 home league meetings, winning 6 and drawing 3. We've not conceded at Old Trafford in this fixture since a 1-0 defeat in February 1980. Which sounds crazy, doesn't it? I thought we were talking about, bogey teams and stuff, but Wolves are yet to lose against United since returning to the Premier League in 2018, though. So I think that's what it is. They're so hard for us to beat.
Yeah.
And we're unbeaten in 3 home games. We've actually turned our home form around a little bit. Our away form's been incredible. Obviously, absolutely incredible. Doesn't get any better than that for away form. Going back, I think you have to go back nearly a century to find any form like that from any team in the top flight. And then we got 3 unbeaten at home now. We won 2, of course. And we had a 6-game winless run before that, though. So it seems like we've turned the corner at home. So I'm not too worried now. That if this was a few weeks ago, I'd be a little bit worried about the home form and the fact that it seems like a bit of a bogey situation for us at the moment without the fans there and that kind of thing. But I think they've got over that now. What do you guys think? Do you think it's an issue that we're playing at home as opposed to away tomorrow?
Did you guys watch the Spurs game yesterday against Wolves?
No, I didn't actually. No.
So I watched the whole game. What was very interesting about that game is I felt like Wolves sat back a little bit and then just kind of waited for their moments. I felt that if Spurs had not tried to sit back on a 1-0 lead like we saw, I don't know how many times he tried that at United and it failed. Yeah. It almost felt like they were going to get one, and they did. But at the same time, when Spurs had their chances, it felt like if they had attacked them and gone for it, they would have scored. And so the reason I bring that up is to make a point that maybe I feel like United are better at controlling teams that sit back. We haven't made a major improvement, but we have definitely improved on it. And I think if we play the right players and go for it and not sit back like Spurs did, then we could win. But again, I still think it'll be a close 2-1.
I feel. I'll be honest with you. I do agree in terms of what you said there, Alex. If the right players are selected, i.e., players that can dictate tempo and make the correct passes at the right times, i.e., your Pogba's and Bruno's. But I just feel like that is something that Ollie could sometimes be sort of pretty capable of being guilty at. With selecting the wrong players from the wrong occasion. He got it absolutely right against Leeds the other day, where he selected the correct players for that specific game and team. And if he can continue to do that, and I think we've got the squad to do that, he's just got to make sure he picks the right players. And for me, exactly what you said there, Alex, we've got to make sure we're selecting players where we can unlock their defense. Like you said, they sit deep, they don't leave a lot of space in behind. They're very hard team to counter against. And if they had Adama Traore, Raul Jimenez, then you'd have to worry going the other way, but they don't have those guys. So to me, that'd be very interesting, and I'm fairly happy with the options that we've got. And even like you said before, late on in the game, where legs are a bit more tired, if you want to stretch them a bit more, we've got options. So I'm fairly hopeful of getting a result for tomorrow. But like you said, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, and to expound on John's part, John mentioned earlier about how there's some players in our midfield, especially with the fullbacks too, that aren't as tidy as they need to be. They're not. John said they misplace a lot of passes, I think is what he said. I see that a lot in our team. Some of our players have a tendency to not be able to progress the ball into the final third, which slows our team down, and you'll see players like Luke Shaw or like Scott McTominay go sideways and backwards. But I think it goes back to the personnel. We just don't have we need to select the right players that will, like you said, unlock the defense and control the game. I would actually like to see a midfield tomorrow. I know it won't happen. Ole won't do it, but I would love to see a midfield tomorrow of Pogba, Van de Beek, Bruno Fernandes. Because Wolves are going to sit back, and I would love for them to just sit back and say, unlock us, because I think those players have the ability to do it, but I don't think Ole will do that.
Wouldn't be brave enough.
No, he hasn't even shown Donny any love at all already this season. I don't really know what's going on. He's playing him hardly at all. I mean, I know maybe Donny's best sort of position is the role that Bruno Fernandes is doing, which is why you've not seen him too much, and maybe he's just a little worried about what he adds defensively, but I'm not worried about what he has defensively. From what I've seen him, he looks a more committed defensive player than somebody like Pogba, to be honest with you.
Yes, absolutely.
So I don't really see why he's not really played Donny hardly at all this season. I don't get that. I hope tomorrow he's going to chuck him in there. I'd love to see that, Alex, to be fair. That sounds like exactly the right sort of game to do it. It's either going to have the effect that it's just going to completely melt the opposition, where we're going to completely side them open, or it's going to cause a few vulnerabilities for ourselves. But with Wolves up where they are right now, with the injuries they've got, the fact, like we said, Dharma's maybe misfiring a bit, and the fact they've got Raul Jimenez out and stuff, they are a fantastic counter-attacking team, Wolves. But at the moment, they're going to be lacking a little bit, like Shane said, a little bit of that firepower in that sense. So I think you're probably right, Alex. We're probably going to be allowed to play our football tomorrow, and it's on us to break teams down, which is one of those things we've struggled to do. But if you've got players like Bruno Fernandes in there, players like Pogba in there turning up, Donny, yeah, absolutely. That's the engine room we can create and cut them open. So I'm going to completely agree with you, Alex. That's the selection I would like to see in midfield for Manchester United. In terms of the defence, I hope, and I don't think, like you said as well, I don't think that Solskjaer is going to do this, but I hope that he changes that around a little bit for this game. I'm sure he won't. He'll probably go with maybe I'm sure Maguire's going to be playing, isn't he? But I would like to see Twanzebe come in there and play. Eric Bailly obviously is another great candidate there. I think Lindelof's possibly going to be out of the game. So, but whether or not he plays or not, if he's fit, he'll probably go with Maguire and Lindelof.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Lindelof's not playing.
I agree. What do you think, John? How do you think the team lines up tomorrow at the back and in midfield in particular? I think the forward line, really, you can argue about it, but I think it pretty much picks itself really in terms of, I think you've got to go with Cavani right now personally, and then Rashford on the left, and actually the right side is questionable. But what do you think, John, about the the midfield, the defense, even the goalkeeper positions up for debate?
First things first, I think just to go back on what I was saying, the reason why I use the word professional is because one thing Wolves do very well consistently is being nifty. They're very tidy in possession. They know what to do. I know you guys have been chatting a lot about the counterattacking aspect of Wolves, but the reason why they perform the way they do under Nuno is because they're very nifty and they're very tidy in possession. Manchester United need to do that. I don't think it's more so about unlocking defenses. I think it's more so about winning that midfield battle. And, and just to kind of supplement what Alex was saying with respect to Donny van de Beek, I'd love to see him play. I love the guy to death. I think he's been one of my favorite players that we've probably picked up over the years. And that's big praise given the fact that we have Bruno and whatnot, but we have to win that midfield battle. We have to control the ball. And, Alex also brought it up before, but just we are so careless and sloppy in possession that if we do that against a team like Wolves, we're just asking for trouble. And we can't allow that to happen, especially at home, because I don't know why these boys seem to have a little bit more pressure at home this season. And whatever the reason, if it could be philosophical, it could be physical, I don't know what the hell it is, but we have to be tidy. We have to be clean. We have to be professional. Confidence isn't built overnight. You don't just come out, just fucking, shoulder wham, just walking out. That it doesn't happen like that. You have to build confidence over a course of period. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build consistency. And we have to do that starting with a game like Wolves, winning that battle in midfield. I know I've been harping about it. Fred's been missing. Fred's been probably the biggest culprit for me with respect. He gets the job done at times mostly, but he's like the king of misplacing passes for me. And I just don't want to see that. I want to make sure we're clean, we're tidy, taking our times, transitioning through the thirds properly. And I think that's the most important thing against the side like Wolves especially. I'd love to see Donny play. I believe if during his time at Ajax, he probably spent more time on the right side of a three, or maybe I might be mistaken, but he was definitely more on the right side. I'd like to see him play on the left side of the three, but usually that role is occupied by Pogba when we play a midfield of three. I don't think he's gonna take over the slot of Bruno's 10. I think Bruno's pretty much cemented that position. So I'd love to maybe see a diamond. I don't know. I don't like the diamond, but I like to see the midfielders in full force. I just like to see something along the lines of a Bruno, Donny, and maybe a Pogba. I know Pogba's not in the long-term picture, but I'd love to see a combination of probably our more sort of star-studded midfielders, and hopefully
didn't we play that against didn't we play that sort of thing against RB Leipzig when we smashed them up 5-0?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I just couldn't remember the team. I knew we had played that midfield combination before, and it worked.
And it worked really well.
One of the teams, I couldn't remember what team it was, but they sat back and we were like, okay, well, we'll unlock you, and we did. And we smacked them.
But then the next week we played Istanbul Basaksehir, and I think we employed the same tactics, and we were gash.
It's not, but the thing is like it's not easy to switch from a shape that as standard as maybe a 4-2-3-1 and then just tell the players to go to a diamond. There's a bit more. There's a bit more involved in terms of transitioning these players' mentalities to try and force that. It's not easy, right? I know these guys are professional players. They get paid thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds a week to play, but it's not that easy. And I just feel like a diamond isn't realistic. I don't think it's realistic, but there's just a side of me that wants to see all of these midfielders absolutely chilling in the midfield. Yeah, just kind of, wedge them in, hopefully get something.
No, I totally agree in that sense. I mean, do you think McTominay plays then for you, John? Would you stick McTominay in there?
Look, I love McSauce. I think the kid's wonderful, but he's still one of those players that isn't consistent. But it's so hilarious that he also has. If you really arguably McTominay's real competition is Fred, right? Those two are both similarly mixed with quality and inconsistency. That for me, if I'm Ole, I'm sitting there watching these freaking highlights, and I'm like, God damn, these fucking kids drive me up the wall because they're so inconsistently inconsistent. And I feel like McTominay has more in his locker to develop his game, but it's just Fred's experience that usurps him in this role. I'd love to see McTominay to flourish, but he has to work out those kinks in order to really solidify this squad. I think for me, Donny, Bruno, and Pogba is a bit more beautiful in terms of the way we line them up. But if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, you would have to include Fred and McTominay in that mix. That's why for me, I just feel like Donny Van de Beek just doesn't get that role for now.
That's why he's going to pick Fred or McTominay, isn't he?
Exactly.
To go with those guys tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
I do hope he
what
what Alex does, because what Alex said, because that is the most creative midfield, but whether or not it's the best, it's certainly not the most rigid or defensive. I mean, to go back to what you were saying, John, about Fred giving it away and that kind of thing. I mean, he does do that, but I still think he's one of the best performers for Manchester United this season in terms of consistency, because he has turned up in a lot of games, and he's kind of like that. He's kind of like that little terrier, that defensive-minded player. That's obviously what his strengths are, and he does get you going. But in terms of the passing and stuff, it's kind of like you need somebody next to him, like a Pogba on form, or like a Donny, or somebody who's going to be that pass master, who's going to transition us from getting the ball back from Fred and then not misplacing the pass and getting us.
Give him the simple option.
Which is, and McTominay, I'm not sure if he's that man for us. Fred and McTominay, I've seen it work really well this season. The PSG away game in particular, when we went over to Paris and bossed it, they're absolutely formidable, just covering ground in that midfield together. But it's a risky one. I don't think it gives you enough spark in the midfield, enough creativity. But we've got a comment here from Talk MU, shout out Talk MU, who says Matic or McSauce alongside Bruno and Pogba. So he would like to see whatever the formation is. You've got to have that defensive-minded player in there along with those guys, which kind of makes sense. You need a bit of balance in this midfield.
Yeah, but Matic isn't one of those guys right now that's going to be able to bring balance in that midfield. I mean, I love Matic to death. I think he's done great service over the years. But every time Matic takes a touch, it feels to me like he's trying to win the ball back. Like every touch he does, it's like he's trying to win his own ball back. His legs are so flaily, and it worries me. And Fred is also kind of one of those situations where like he's nifty, but his concern for me is whenever he's in that, maybe if you're in a single pivot role of a midfield three, if he's holding that single pivot in front of the two defenders, he likes to wait sometimes and draw the opposition, which is what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to create spaces in between and behind these players. You're supposed to do that. But Fred, he's not the greatest because he's a small player. You mentioned Terrier there. When that pressure comes, and a lot of teams do that, they exploit this very well. They press Fred so that his vision up front is closed, and he has to turn sideways, and they're all getting pressed. Fred gets found out in many situations like that. Right, and then just like Shane says, he's put in a state of panic, and then before you know it, he's got his ass turned backward. The defender's right behind him, touch tight, and he's just putting physical pressure on him, and then before you know it, Fred's flailing around similarly. We don't want to see these things.
He did it the other day, actually, didn't he?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
I've noticed that with Fred. He always has to... Sorry, good.
No, you go, Alex. You go.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I've noticed with Fred, he has to take 2 touches before he passes it. I've never seen... Well, I'm not saying never, because I know he does, but he's not like Donny, where when Donny gets the ball, it's 1 touch, it's tidy, boom. It's on to the next player, it's pass and move. It's very, very sharp. It's very crisp. You know what I mean?
There's an air of expectation, isn't there, when you've got Donny and Pogba and Bruno on the ball, as opposed to Fred, McTominay and Matic. And I think there's an interesting stat where it's reading that when it's been McTominay, Fred combination and Matic versus with Bruno and Pogba, the ball retention is on the floor compared to when you've got Bruno and Pogba on the pitch. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. No, I'm not hearing this, God. No, Fred's the Brazilian Gattuso.
Fred is a really good player. Fred is very good at what he does.
Alex, stop trying to make Joe happy. It's not It's not happening.
No, but Fred is a really good player. I just think he needs somebody next to him. Look, the bottom line is we need a proper DM. And signing someone like Moises Caicedo, this kid, it's only going to complicate this debate we're having about who starts in midfield, because now you're just adding another person. And that's not even considering James Garner comes back next season. Dylan Levitt comes back next season. What do we do with that? So lots of questions for our midfield to be answered.
Just come in here with a comment and said, without Fred, our win percentage is lower, which is interesting. He has been very important for us this season. Also, Hector Rico agrees with you, Alex, and I have to agree as well. Fred can't play as a lone CDM, so he's useless as Hector Rico. I mean, I don't think he's useless, but yes, I mean, he needs somebody alongside him, like you say, Alex. I agree with that. But it's a great debate. I mean, this is it's nice to have a midfield where we're pondering all the different combinations, and a lot of the combinations look pretty good, you know, whether it's Donny, Pogba, Matic playing it alongside, whether it's Matic and McTominay, Fred and McTominay, Fred and Pogba, Matic and Pogba, which we saw a lot last season. We got options in there, so it's nice. It is really nice to see that, but I still think we didn't get that truly defensive-minded midfielder that we needed in the window. Again, it's another showing of lack of ambition there. We could have done with doing what Arsenal did, going and get a Thomas Partey type player. But maybe you'll see with Pogba going out in the summer, which looks imminent, you might see United. I know we're getting Moises Caicedo, it looks like, but you might see United go out there and do a bit more movement in that position of the team. Okay, I just want to read this. Oh, by the way, we've hit over 120 likes on the stream. Everybody smash that thumbs up button if you're just joining us and getting in here, guys. Hit the like on the video if you have not done so. And if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button too. Eddie Otu says, yes, Pigo, Brazilian Gattuso, because both could only break up the play, but they are great at it. There you go, exactly, yeah. I mean, look, a little terrier in there, some sort of fucking Italian terrier, wasn't he, getting in there and breaking things up, man? A little short ass doing the bits in the midfield for us, you know. That's Fred. Hey, Rushmano with another super chat here. He says, wow, this is interesting. He says, with Fred in the team, he's done some research, guys. We've triggered Rushmano. We've triggered him.
Come on, Rushy.
He says, with Fred in the team, our percentage is 57.4%. Loss percentage is 21.3%. Sorry, with Fred in the team. Oh, okay, right. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty damn good, to be fair.
You know, look, you could throw stats all you want. And shout out to Rushmano. Shout out to Rushmano. He's been actually very involved in the chat. I've been watching. Shout out to you, Rush. But I'm not here to just say that Fred is an absolute like trash wank. Like I'm not saying that at all. It's just for me. It's like he does so much for us, right? He does so much on that pitch. He runs his ass off. He breaks up play. He's such an industrial little guy on that pitch. He works so hard for us, right? So I'm watching the guy. I'm like, damn, this guy's working his ass off, and he's such a little fella too. That ball is fucking massive when he takes that touch, right? He works so hard on that pitch. However, it's the simple things that he ruins that absolutely breaks my heart. And I just wanted to fix that. I'm not here to just absolutely I don't know if the British word is slander or slander, whatever the hell. I'm not here to just absolutely rip him. I'm just saying that out of probably Scott McTominay, Fred, we probably need Fred on that pitch. That's just a fact. Right? Yeah. That's just a fact.
I agree with you.
I just feel like there's these little things that he needs to fix if he wants to solidify that role. Because for me, I'm not playing him in a single pivot. I'm not playing in a single holding role. That's just for me. That spells disaster. Especially when you have if you have Fred in front of you and you look to your left and Harry Maguire's there, and you look to your right, Victor Lindelof or Eric Bailly's there doing fucking flip flaps and overhead bicycle kicks. Yeah, I'm not having Fred there, right? It's just one of those things where like you have to find the right balance. And I feel like Fred is just one of those guys that's like he's near that like one of the first names on the team sheet position that situation, but he's just not quite there yet. And for me, I need him to fix that, especially given his age, his experience, his time in the world of football. I just need him to fix that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Hopefully, it comes with a little bit more improvement around him in the side as well, and as this team improves over the next sort of coming years as well. But he's a good, at the very least. He's maybe a position in the team that we would look to strengthen ultimately, but at the very least, he's not a problem area for us right now, in my opinion.
Exactly. But, I agree with that.
Yeah. So just a few other little head-to-head stats. I won't keep you guys too much longer, but just in regards to United, so we actually scored as many goals in the game against Leeds United in our last home game as we did in the previous 8 league matches at Old Trafford combined. So hopefully we have turned the corner at home. We'll see. Also, Edinson Cavani scored 3 goals and assisted 2 in 7 appearances as a substitute in the Premier League so far. Bloody good stats there from him. In regards to Wolves, this is what we talk about Wolves being a stern test. This just backs it up, really. Wolves have won 40 points from losing position since the start of the 2018-19 season, which is the best return of any side other than Liverpool and Manchester United, who have 45 points and 44. So in terms of being hard to beat and coming back from losing positions and having a bit of bottle about them and a bit of fight and heart, they're a tough team. But they have actually not been too fantastic recently. Wolves could lose 3 consecutive Premier League away matches for the first time since April 2012. So the last couple of games away from home. Look, I mean, like John says, stats and all that stuff, it all sort of kind of goes out the window, especially when there's no fans here and away and home. I mean, does that really even mean anything when you're playing behind closed doors? You know what I mean?
I think analytics, is something that I think, like I think Alex mentioned earlier about the sports science guys. Analytics is something now that a lot of sort of sports initiatives are sort of taking notice of, in terms of what's effective, what works, what doesn't work, and just percentages basically. So I suppose, but just starting Fred based on those percentages, maybe I don't know if Ollie would go off that, but certainly I do think Fred tries his hardest, and when you've got one of those glue guys in your squads that you really can't do without, and you notice them when they're not there. I think Fred brings a lot of that to the squad as well, and I think like Darren Fletcher and Park Ji Sung back in the day.
Or Henderson at Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. James Milner. They're not the best, of the best individual players, but you know what? They have a massive role within the squads, and I just feel like we need to appreciate that as well, because football isn't just one on the pitch. It's what you do away from and the attitudes. That's why I think Edinson Cavani extending his contract is huge, because he could play like a role like like Zlatan Ibrahimovic did for us as a sort of like a leader as well, and a teacher as well for the younger lads. So I think we've got a good squad, but it's not great, and that's what we need to be a dynasty again, which we were going in the right direction anyway, I feel.
Fantastic. We just hit the hour mark here, lads and lasses. Thank you everyone who's joined us tonight. Smash that thumbs up button on the stream if you have not done so already. I'm just going to go around quickly before we end, and I just want to hear your position that we finish in this season in the Premier League. I'm saying third. We'll go over you, Shane, top right first. What do you think?
Okay,
if you have to put your money on where United finish, where do we finish, and why?
I need a drum roll though. I do need a drum roll. No, I think we'll actually finish in second place.
Excellent. I'd love that. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we'd all be pretty happy with that, wouldn't we? I would take that all day. John, what do you think, mate?
I wanted to say we're going to finish first. No,
come on, John! Come on!
Get in there, boys. We're going to win the league.
I think I agree with you, Joe. I think we're going to finish third. I think that's one of those situations, but it won't be like just barely made it third. I think we're going to hold. We're going to maybe bounce up between second and third. And I think we'll just finish with a solid third. It's going to be, for me, it feels like it's going to be a positive end. It's not one of those where it's like, oh my God, holy shit, thank God we made it here. It's like, I feel like there is progression. There is positives to this side. So I feel like at the end of it all, I just feel like there will be something for us to be smiling with. Maybe a third and a trophy, and I'm happy.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully it'll be a close run race at least. Anyway, even if we don't win it, ultimately it's just nice to be in it. Rincon, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, so I was just looking at the table before I give my prediction. We've played pretty much everybody except for Liverpool that are a top team this season. I think we're better than Leicester. I think we're a better team than Everton, Villa, Chelsea, Tottenham. I think we should have beaten City. I'm gonna go with Shane. I think we'll finish second this season. I think if we go into that, if we win tomorrow, win Friday, beat City in the semifinal, and then beat or draw Liverpool, then I'll say we can challenge for the league. But until those things happen, I will say we can't, and the best we can do is second. But I'd be very happy with second, and I'd really like to win a trophy this season.
I'm getting excited, lads. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sat here getting excited.
I mean, it's exciting.
I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you know
what? It is exciting. Quietly optimistic.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this. I think Manchester United, for the first time in a while, I think we smash up Liverpool.
Go on!
Go on!
Oh, I would absolutely love us to smash Liverpool.
We're due something like that, aren't we? We're due a lovely win, smashing up Liverpool 5-1 or something like that, you know?
Hey, like I said, if we win tomorrow, we win Friday, we beat City, and we beat Liverpool or draw them, I will say we can challenge for the title. But we're inconsistent this year, so those are all really big ifs.
Yeah, I've been getting asked left, right, and center from people. They've been asking me, where do you think we'll finish? I've just been denying them, saying I'm not gonna say shit until the end of December. Because I just feel like at the end of December is usually we'll get a real feel as to what we're doing. Like what's our goal here? What's our agenda? What's our target? Right? And I just feel like even though it's a pandemic season and it's just kind of a crazy hectic situation all across the entire league, I still feel like we'll have a much, much stronger, clearer picture come the end of December and the beginning of January.
Yeah,
that's always kind of been my rule anyway. Is like I don't even look at the table until like this time, like Christmas time. So yeah, anything could happen though. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's going to be semi-dependent, maybe, on who does what business in the January transfer window. I don't think there's going to be a lot of clubs doing much business this window. But if United get a quality centre back in, let's just say we do go and buy up a Meccano. I don't think it's going to happen till the summer. But let's just say we did, and we did get Caicedo in, and he just happens to be the new Kante or whatever. Then you just never know. You just never know. That's going to play a factor in everybody's season as well.
Right.
Teams that are looking to bring in other players as well, if they get the players they need, if we get the players we need, if we keep our players fit, if Bruno doesn't get a bloody anterior cruciate ligament injury, there's so many different factors that lead up to it. But we're in it, guys. We're in it. Just to finish on very, very quickly, Shane, did you say 3-1 to United tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with you, mate. I'm going with 3-1. To be fair, I think we'll score without class.
If we look at all their players they got missing as well, versus what we've got going forwards. 3-1.
Yeah. We're in a good run.
Yeah, 3-1 could happen. And like I said, they're going to be exhausted. When that 60th minute kicks in, man, you're going to see some of those players just exhausted.
And you said 2-1, didn't you, Alex?
Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah. And John?
I think it's gonna be 2-1. I just don't think we'll be able to keep the clean sheet. But you know what? I'm gonna say 2-0. Fuck yeah, we're gonna.
Go on, John. Go on, John.
No, that's not it, boys. We're gonna get a fucking clean sheet.
Let's be having you.
Oh, hang on a sec, John Shin. Ellie's. I don't know if Ellie's trying to freak you out there, but she said, "Did anyone else see that dark figure in Shin's mirror?"
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's funny.
Legends. Legends. Okay then, guys. Well, we'll leave it there then. But this has been absolutely beautiful. Thank you guys for so much for joining us. John Shin, what an absolute bloody legend. You can find him on YouTube, John Shin, and Twitter and the like as well. Alex Rincon, you can find him at North Texas Reds on social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. The United Man, Shane, check out the United Man on YouTube and Twitter and all that good stuff as well. Make sure you check these guys out. As you can see, they're absolutely bloody top legends. Hopefully we can do this again very, very soon, guys.
For sure.
Good to go.
Yeah, happy to go anytime.
Legends. Well, what I'll say to everybody watching, thank you so much for getting in here. Please do us a massive favor and hit the thumbs up button before you go. Come back after this video is finished as well and get your score predictions in for the game tomorrow against Wolves. Let us know how you think United are going to fare. And also, what do you think about the squad selection? Who are you Manchester United going to select? Who do you think wins that sort of midfield selection battle, defense, etc.? Let us know your thoughts and opinions. Get involved with this video. We'll be commenting on it afterwards, giving you my thoughts, etc. on your comments. So get involved, everyone. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe. Check these legends out on social media and have yourselves a bloody good one. And come on, United!
Come on, lads. Come on.
Let's be having you. Where are you? Peace, guys. Thank you so much.
Take care. See you later.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy.
Yeah.
See ya.